position at State Personnel, is that right?
I was State Personnel Director for almost 2 years under Governor Richardson in his first term, and
I wish they could change some of those SPO rules too. I mean, because we can never seem to hire somebody that's just graduated, with an engineering degree or even a law degree, because they don't have any experience built into that resume.
Right.
And at SPO, we can't do anything about it.
Well,
so that's what we want to keep our kids here, but we can't because of the way the job descriptions are written and the requirements.
Well, the state personnel system it's really, maybe in some people's eyes, and I'll take some criticism on this, it's maybe a little bit too complex. We try in any field, in any professional field.
Well, I'm not going to let you take the blame on this one. This is the administration.
The administration now. Well,
yeah.
Even okay. So I'll agree with you there. However, when you look at the Personnel Act here in New Mexico, it's a pretty broad piece of legislation, and I think there's enough latitude in the Personnel Act for different personnel boards and personnel directors like myself to work within that to provide those basic services to the public when people want to pursue a career or come and work in state government. And what happens, I think, sometimes is those bureaucrats, when we get entrenched in a certain system like personnel, we want to keep up with the rest of the world. We want to, like, I remember when we used to call personnel, and now we call it human resources, and now there's Society for Human Resources. I mean, that's great that we're professionalizing the discipline. However, we got to remember, at least in state government, who our customers are.
That's right.
And they have different educational backgrounds, different economical backgrounds, and we've got to provide a system in there that they can easily navigate through. And in your case, when you have to hire people, you don't want to be dealt with a 5-6 page job description. You want to get to the essentials of the job duties, and the minimum requirements to do that job. And I'm a firm believer in that. And we don't have to over sophisticate the system to the point to where managers and people that are applying for jobs just get so frustrated with it, they give up. And I think I hear a lot about that.
Well, yeah,
in the
we
current
need
personnel
to
system.
define just the right expertise, and it's always been difficult.
Yes.
So, and since you know so much about the legislature and the process in SPO, what do you think about legislation that relates to election finance? And you're going to be, should you win, working with campaign finance, and I don't know if some of the things that are happening now are just,
I think
conflicting.
I think New Mexico overall, in the Secretary of State's office, we've progressed in the area of campaign finance reporting. We've gotten better at it. I still think we need some more funding and some more resources to do what the Secretary of State needs to do, as far as enforcing the rules and regulations in regards to campaign finance. There's different philosophies out there. I mean, with recent events regarding corruption and misconduct in office and all that, some people, a lot of legislators and a lot of people are advocating for an ethics commission. And I take a step back on that, Valerie, and I'll tell you why. Because it sounds good on paper. Let's create an ethics commission, and the ethics commission is going to stamp out misconduct and malfeasance in office and all the. But by itself, I mean, you know this because you've been in government. Creating another layer of bureaucracy in government, I'm not sure is going to be the answer. I think we need to really examine and enforce the laws that we have on the books currently, and place that responsibility in a certain part of government that already exists. And I'm gonna say the Attorney General's office. We need to put some funding and some people in there, and maybe create a division or a bureau within the Attorney General's office that's going to be responsible for investigating and enforcing, campaign finance or misconduct in office. Those
sort of like an inspector general. I think they have one at the DOT.
That's a good relationship there that you mentioned. Yes.
And then I know I took you away because I get so enthralled in asking you questions, but I took you away from what you did after you were at SPO.
When I left the state personnel office, I went back to the administrative office of the courts. I was at state personnel actually twice. My first time, and I'll never forget my first personnel director, Judy Basham, when Judy hired me, and James
We all
Lewis
know
was the
Judy.
chief of staff. Yeah, we all remember Judy, and
James.
bless her heart, and rest in peace for Judy. But Judy was my first boss, and I was given an opportunity to be what they call the compensation administrator. So I used to deal with all the pay issues for classified state employees when I was there, and we did great work. We created the current system that's in place now to evaluate jobs, measure jobs, put jobs in salary ranges, is still in existence from way back in 1989, the Hay Study, and as a lot of employees refer to it as. So that system is still in place, and I remember being part of the construction of all that. So that was my first tenure at State Personnel. So when I left after I was State Personnel Director, I went back to the Administrative Office of the Courts, where I was a Deputy Director, and I finished my government career there at the AOC. And I owe a lot to the judiciary because I spent the majority of my state government career
Who
with
was
the
there at the
judiciary.
time?
At which time?
The judiciary. Who were?
Oh gosh, when I started do you remember Dan Sosa? Remember Chief Justice Dan Sosa? And
Well,
Vern,
those were the days of Shirley Hooper.
when Shirley went, yeah,
And
that's
she
right.
was there.
That's Shirley Hooper. That's right. And Galen, Galen Hooper.
uh-huh.
In fact, Galen was one of my. He was a deputy director of the AOC at the time that I worked for the
It's
AOC.
such a small world. I didn't
Yeah.
realize all that.
Yeah, all that. And I grew up in government. My career, not only did my career grow up in government, but personally, I grew up in government. And those people that impacted me, like Judy and like Galen, and I can name hundreds of people. Jerry Riles, Gip Brown, all those people that worked with me at the State Personnel Office. Gina Maestas, when she was the director of
I
the
remember
AOC,
her.
and Gina
And now
Hyde.
she's a judge, right?
And no, Gina's retired now. Gina
Oh,
retired.
Why was I thinking she was a judge?
She could be a judge. I don't think she wants to. She doesn't like the politics, but.
Oh
no.
yeah. Speaking of politics,
yeah.
That how has it been on the campaign trail? I know it's difficult sometimes. You hear things and people say things and it hurts, but they need to know who you are as a person.
Well, unfortunately, when certain public offices require you to campaign for office,
And put
you have to
yourself
be
out there.
elected. Yeah, and you got to put yourself out there. And now I'm really understanding. I used to run campaigns for my father, and I saw it from that perspective. But now being a candidate, it's tough. I can't say that I'm having fun doing it.
It's never easy.
It's never easy. I enjoy certain parts of it. But there are parts of it, Valerie, that I just don't enjoy. The media scrutiny and that's been kind of distasteful up to this point. I wish people from the media would get to know the candidates and get to know the public officials before they start writing articles and about them.
Yeah, because it does. It gives people an impression that So yeah.
So that's been a little distasteful.
We'll get used to it. So
yeah, I got to be a little
that's
thick-skinned.
The nature of the beast is what
Yeah.
I was told. And it only gets better. You just have to demonstrate that you are capable of doing a good job, and then it'll come back and it'll get better.
Well, I'll take your words of advice because you've ran several campaigns, so you're ahead of me in that department. So.
I know, and sometimes you don't even want to look at the paper, and sometimes it's just wonderful.
Well,
it's a nice surprise to read, and if you stand up for the people, stand up for your position, and just do a good job, what can they do to hurt you?
Well, that's it, because at the end of the day, and I talk to my wife about this a lot, and my father, of course, two of my biggest advisors, and they remind me. They say, Jeff, remember what you're running for and who you're going to represent. It's about the people. You can have umpteen endorsements, and your contributors can be big money people, but at the end of the day, it's all about who's going to vote for you.
Who's got the will?
Who's got the will? That's right. Who's got the will? And the people that you're going to represent, should I get elected? I think of those traditional, generational people in the district that embraced my father's representation for all those years. I want to continue that. That's it for me, Valerie. I don't have any ambition to be governor or congressman, or if I can do a good job as a state representative, I think that'll satisfy me.
What area does your district encompass?
District 48, pretty much, to keep it short, runs from the east side of Santa Fe out by the hospital, Soliloma, St. Michael's area, runs across town down Rodeo Road in St. Michael's and Cerrillos, goes southwest down Agua Fria into the village of Agua Fria. So it cuts across part of Casa Solana, part of Casa Alegre is part of the district, some areas of Agua Fria, and then of course the incorporated village of Agua Fria is part of the village, and so different perspectives. I mean, east side of Santa Fe versus the southwest side of Santa Fe, economically, culturally, very diverse. And I have to keep that in mind when I'm campaigning, but should I be elected and I'm in the legislature, I have to keep my constituency and the diversity of the people and the culture and the traditions in mind when I'm representing them at the Roundhouse.
When you say east side, do you mean Hyde Park area as well?
No. Actually, the boundary on the north side is Casa Solana, West Alameda. So that's the northernmost boundary. Representative Trujillo represents that area that you're talking about up in Hyde Park. So it's kind of a strip that runs across town from east to west.
So if you had to say, I know you've served in the Marine Corps and you talked a little bit about your family, because I keep cutting you off. Tell me about your kids real quick, and then, what are they?
2 daughters, yes, and the joys of my life. Christina's 29 and Camille's 17, and talk about different personalities. Christina has a lot of my personality, and my daughter Camille has a lot of my wife's personality. So that's a challenge because not only my wife and I have interesting conversations because of our personalities, but my daughters do. So, but at the
and are they out there helping you?
They're out there helping me. They walk the streets with me, knock on doors. Oh yes, and they're on the phone calling people, calling voters and asking for their support. So they're out there working with me.
Well, as I do with everyone, I wish you lots of good luck, and I appreciate your efforts because it's not easy, it's right. And if there's something that you wanted to say to the audience, what would it be?
Well, people of Santa Fe, people of District 48, I'm Jeff Varela. I'm a Democrat. I'm not any flavor of Democrat. I'm just a Democrat. I'm an American first, and I'm running for state representative in District 48 to represent cultural and generational Santa Fe in the state legislature. And I need your vote. Early voting has started, and I need your vote on June 7th to elect me to the House of Representatives, and I would appreciate that.
I know we have a little bit of time left, and so why are you running anyway?
Public service.
Public service.
There's obviously a position in the state legislature. There's no pay involved with that.
No kidding. You said the key.
There's no pay involved with it other than mileage and per diem when you serve on committees.
Facts.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's public service.
I think you ought to work on paying these legislators because, I really think they deserve it. I mean, it's what, $25 a day for per diem, something like that?
Yeah.
Maybe 50.
I tend to, right now, because, I strongly believe in the citizen non-paid legislature. And I don't think, from a budget perspective, the state's in any position to start paying our 112 legislators. So, I think right now,
that's a good point.
Yeah, I think right now we need to make it work. We got a pretty decent retirement plan, if you can invest after 5 years in the legislature. So, I'm content. And again, going back to your question about why am I doing it, it's public service. It's continuing the public service that my father provided Santa Fe, New Mexico, and the district for all those 30 years that he's been there.
Well, I salute you and your father,
Thanks.
And good luck again.
Okay.
And thank you for being here.
Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you for your interest.
You bet.
I think we, been doing this program for about, I think I started probably 15 years ago is what I was reminded earlier. And so I don't know if you've been watching it,
I do
but,
watch it.
I'll go to Mass at the cathedral somewhere, and people will say, I saw your program and it was good. I wish I had time to watch it myself, so we're going to have to start watching it when we're not too busy working. Anyhow, with that, thank you all for watching, and thank you for hosting this show here at the college. It's been a great program, and it's a great form of public information, like you say.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here again. If you'd like to appear on my program, please give me a call at 827-4533. Thank you. Oh, how funny you get.